Hey everyone, what's up? This is Jags here, and today is going to be something a little bit more sporadic. Only because I had a really random burst of energy, and where did that come from? Well, that just so happened to come through and from my ADD. It's something I personally want to talk about because, one, it is a pain to work with and to live with, but at the same time, it can be very beneficial. So the issues overall that I have with ADD is the fact that I have a very difficult time, one, staying on topic or staying on task. I tend to get very scatterbrained, kind of everything kind of becomes molded into one. I have a hard time actually keeping focus on what it is I should be doing. Rather than just be like, oh, I actually should be doing this, but I'm so involved in something else that it's just like, oh, well, this doesn't matter anymore. I've been trying to work so much with trying to get all this kind of figured out. It's something that I definitely feel like I have improved on over many years, but at the same time, I still do see a lot of struggles with ADD in general. As of right now, I am actually having a very, very, very difficult time keeping focus, because it's weird, because there's a part of me that is telling me, why are you doing this? You can be recording another video right now. That might seem a lot cooler. But the problem is, I want to do a video on this because I want to be able to talk about it and how it affects me, and hopefully other people can relate to this. And it's honestly... it's really infuriating, because if that random bit of energy that's stored up inside of me randomly gets released like that, I tend to have a very difficult time actually being able to hold that back. Yeah, as of right now, it might seem like I'm a little calm, but in the inside, I am wired up beyond belief. It's like, it's so much excess energy that I don't know necessarily what to do with it. At this, like, part of me wants to run like a marathon, but then the other side of me is just like, no, you can't do that because you'll end up passing out. So why don't you do this? And then it constantly just like, or you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this, or this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and it doesn't stop. And like I said, from time to time, it can be very, very useful, but as of right now, it's actually hurting my head. Now there's a lot of things I can do, or that I have done, in order to calm myself down. Probably also doesn't help that I had a yerba mate before either, and I'm pretty sure that's what's kicking in right now. And I feel like my brain is working faster than my mouth can actually get the words out, and it's kind of confusing. It's kind of making my head a little fuzzy almost. It's hard to describe. Living with ADD my entire life, clearly, because it's never going to go away, has always been not so much of an issue. It's just little things I have to learn to overcome, and certain little techniques I have to teach myself over an extensive period of time in order for me to actually feel like I'm in control. And having ADD definitely does affect my body in multiple ways. One, obviously, it has my mind scattered all about everywhere. It gives me too much energy sometimes, to the point where I literally cannot think straight. If someone tells me something, it doesn't even get through the first ear. It just kind of hits my ear and falls right back out again. Doesn't even make it in through the first one. If I'm really focused on something, I'll just be focused on that, and I'll forget the rest of the world even exists. It tends to tone out things I actually should be paying attention to and listening to, but that ends up dissipating away as well. And besides that, it also causes constant tremors in my hands. As of right now, I know you can't see, but my hand is actually shaking actually quite a lot. And it has been really annoying for me to actually see that. I don't want tremors in my hand constantly, because for one of my main passions in my career is videography. And yeah, as of right now, I have my camera mounted, so everything's nice and still. But a lot of my work I do freehand, so everything is just literally by hand, and I'm filming because I'm very sporadic once it comes to my filming work, only because I used to film mainly more of music festivals and stuff like that, and everything, in my opinion, needed to be very fast takes, very just go, 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 go. And it's okay if there's a little bit of shakiness, because in post I can always go ahead and stabilize that. But when I have, like, for example, when I forget like my tripod or something, I have freehand and it's just like a really bad day, I've seen plenty of times where I had to go ahead and actually delete the footage. It was just too shaky. I could not keep my hands straight, and I could not just keep them focused, and it was such a pain. But thankfully I invested in some new gear that helps with that. But it's always been an issue with that, because even if I'm like trying to like drink something, like you'll see like a little bit of like shakiness, and unfortunately I have spilled stuff on myself plenty of times, and I drop food, unfortunately. Like if I have like a fork, I'm like this, and sometimes it just like falls because my hand just shakes. Or another thing I realized it actually has as well, which kind of leads into like the shakiness and everything, is I get random little like tics almost, and it basically feels like I get like overcome by this giant like wind, like chill like feeling. I just feel it goes straight through my spine, and all of a sudden it's just like my whole body just twitches. And I found out I'm not the only one who actually goes through that, because I actually have a lot of other friends that have experienced the same thing. I thought it was just me. Turns out it's pretty common for people who have ADD to actually get these effects, I guess you can call them, and symptoms or whatever. But, you know, over time, I always thought of my ADD being a burden and always interfering in anything I ever done. Once it came to school, once it came to my work, once it came down to my work ethics, I always thought it just got in the way of everything. But over time, I realized and figured out how to properly store and maintain that excess energy. And it's weird. It's almost like I can keep it in a little pocket somewhere in my body. I'm not exactly sure where, but it feels like it's in like a little like storage container in my body. And if I'm running out of energy and I just feel lightheaded or anything like that, I found a way to go ahead and just kind of pop that open. And I feel that adrenaline rush coming through. It's like I'm clear as a bell. My mind is usually more focused now, which is weird because normally it was the opposite. But somehow I figured out and trained myself and my body to be able to, you know, just hold back that excess energy. It doesn't work all the time, but as of right now, I'm legitimately trying my best to go ahead and actually keeping that like stored back inside, because I know if I release that energy, I'm going to be going on random rants, I'm going to go on different topics, and I'm really trying to train myself a little bit more on to stay on topic and not be all over the place, which is actually very, very difficult for me, because once I think of one thing, I want to go to that, but then I kind of forget the other topic I'm talking about, so it's all over the place. But once it came down to being able to teach myself a little bit more on how to store that excess energy inside of me, kind of push it to the side a little bit for when I need it, I've realized over time is actually became more of, not so much more of a nuisance anymore. It's actually helped me overall in the long run actually be able to be who I am as a person, and being able to actually work more proficient now as well, which is interesting. So a lot of things I do, I used to start off with just breathing techniques and everything like that, but my problem is I never feel like I have time to breathe in general. So I'm always on the go. I'm always about doing something. If it's video editing, if it's filming, if it's playing music, I want to start up like a new project or something like that. I want to go out and do this. I want to go out and do that. There's a million different things that's going on in my head constantly. And that's another problem with my ADD as well. It's just like I feel like I can take on every little challenge possible. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. This is awesome. But the moment one thing doesn't work out for me, boom, I feel destroyed in general. And even though I know that's going to happen because I've been known to bite off way more than I could ever chew. And so little by little, I still struggle with this, but I'm still trying to figure out how to just really tone it down. I'm like, all right, it is possible to do all these things, but I have to learn that other things that might be a lot more important have to come first, so I might not be able to do those. But for the things I still want to do, like playing music or getting my videography work done, once it comes down to filming for other people or working for my other business, it's just, I really have to figure out time management as well. With ADD, it is a nightmare for me. Time management, as much as I hate to admit it, has always been an issue for me. I constantly have to write myself schedules, even though I know for a fact Tuesdays and Wednesdays, it's solely for me working with my business with Insomnia Bros. Those are the 2 days that I know for a fact I am going to be there and I'm going to be working. Do things unfortunately happen and things get in the way? Yeah, sure. There's a lot of times there's no control over that, but at the same time, I have to go ahead and put it in my phone. I have to put it on my Google Calendar. I need constant reminders to be like, okay, right, this is what's happening at this time. I have to follow that, because if I don't, my schedule is normally completely ruined and I'm back to being all over the place again. I kind of feel off. So I've been trying to teach myself a little bit more once it comes to that, but it is very difficult because my businesses and everything obviously are a high priority for me. But at the same time, the highest priority is me as myself as a person, and which includes my wife. So obviously I want to spend as much time with her as possible because our schedules are going to be, well, they used to be a little strange, and now everything's kind of, we're working around it, but there's so much that goes on in time management that I just struggle with because of my ADD. I always feel completely overwhelmed, even if I love the fact that I'm completely booked, like, for the rest of the month for video work. It honestly still worries me in a way. It's like it triggers some weird form of anxiety or stress, even though it's like I want to do this. Like, this is what my career is going to be, is professionally filming for a living and entertaining and everything along the lines that goes with multimedia in general. But I don't quite understand why, even though this, I know for a fact it's a true passion, when my ADD kicks in, it gets me stressed out a lot more too. And it's just like, well, then you have to do this, you have to do this, what about this, what about this, what about this? And it doesn't stop. And sometimes, unfortunately, it gets to the point where I can't sleep, which causes a lot of insomnia issues. And I just dream literally of work. Just last night, I had a difficult time sleeping because I was having dreams that I was still editing some stuff, and I'm like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. The volume for that was probably a little too high. I should have lowered that. And what made no sense is the fact that, like, I already knew it was fine. I, like, quadruple checked my videos, and I'm very persistent once it comes to my work. I'm very, very keen on perfection once it comes to my work and my audio and my video and everything in general. And it's just a complete nightmare sometimes. And even in this video right now, I know I might be all over the place. Like I said, I'm trying really, really hard to hold it back. And another thing that I actually just started thinking about is, for my ADD in general, makes me very, very emotional a lot of times. As of right now, it's weird because I'm happy as could be. I have all of today off. That's why I'm able to get all this recording work done. And I love it. I really do. And I am having a lot of fun being able to do this. But there is some weird part of me that's just randomly just clicked. It's just like, you might be upset, but there's no reason to be. I'm like, yeah, maybe it's the fact that like my schedule for the rest of this month is completely booked through either my new job that I'm starting. It probably is that, because there's a lot of nerves that come in with that in general, but just overall schedule that I have in general could be the issue. But there's so many different variables that are very difficult for me to consider because the brain is running faster than it should be. But, you know, like I said, it has gotten significantly better since I was younger. When I was younger, I just could not control it. I was drumming on every table I saw. I was drumming on my legs. I was tapping, doing something. I was usually always running around somewhere, and it was too much for me. It was too much for my parents. I know that for a fact, because, you know, they had to raise me, so sorry. But, you know, there's just there's so much going on, and I just hope that, you know, through videos like this, I might be able to connect with people who have, or, you know, very well have gone through the same thing as me. It's just like, you have the same thoughts, the same feelings. It's like, what should I do? What should I do? So if you guys are curious on a little bit maybe more techniques that I've been able to teach myself on how to really, you know, keep that extra energy back, how to really kind of help yourself a little bit more if you do have really bad ADD or even ADHD in that case as well. I do know a lot about that because a lot of my friends have ADHD as well. Probably explains why I have the friends I do, because I have a lot of similarities that they do as well. But if you guys are interested in that, I can definitely say that for another video. Just let me know down below in the comments. If you guys have anything that you can relate to that I might have been through, or vice versa, if you say something else a little extra, and I'll definitely go ahead and reach out to you guys so we can have a nice little discussion. Once again, anything at all, just comment down below, and we'll definitely have a fun little discussion about that. Sorry if, once again, I am sorry if this video might seem all over the place, but it kind of makes sense I'm doing a video on ADD when I'm experiencing ADD probably at its worst that has been for quite some time. But, you know, it works out for my advantage because I got another video out, and I'm proud that I was able to stick with one thing and do it, even though my ADD is trying to prevent me from doing it, and it wants me to do everything else. But until next video, I will see you guys later, and hopefully my ADD calms down, and yeah. See ya.